This is part two. Colonel Larry Wilkerson. Listen to what he has to say, and then you'll figure out that this is planned by Washington with its partners.
Being disingenuous, or is he malinformed of specifics that might come back and haunt him?
Talking about
I
Trump.
don't know the answer to that question because I will tell you something else. This is my field. I've studied every administration and the national security decision-making process therein since Eisenhower. There is no system in this administration. There is no system at all. There is no national security advisor who is responsible for managing the system, however badly or well. None. So how in the world are they making decisions like this in particular that the president knows the specific details of, or that even blesses them? I don't know. I think this general concept is out there. And let's back up to one other thing too. This is Bibi's way of stopping negotiations. This is the way he does it. And if anybody sits down with the enemy, Hamas, he's going to try to stop it any way he possibly can. And he's getting more desperate in that regard because he's getting more desperate that he hasn't destroyed Hamas and that he isn't going to. And so he's going to have to expand this war. He's going to have to expand it to Lebanon, to Syria, or more likely to Iran. He's got to do that for political purposes and for his own survival. He's got to do that. So he wants no peace agreement at all. And he doesn't give a damn about the hostages. We all know that. So I agree mostly with what Larry said.
What was leaked out as this attack occurred was that Trump's advisors were infuriated with the attack, and that when they found out about it, it was as if they were not consulted with, that the Trump administration was not notified. And then we come to find out that they did receive notification supposedly, but that notification was too late. What do you make of this, Larry, of the plausible deniability? Because Colonel Wilkerson brought up a point where we could be looking at chaos of a system that just absolutely is working on its own despite it, or we're looking at plausible deniability, which is a kind of strategy of moving along into what Colonel Wilkerson says is using Israel for the U.S.'s purposes while pretending that it has nothing to do with the U.S.
Yeah, it's total, to quote Ray McGovern, male bovine excrement. Look, as Colonel Wilkerson alluded to, the planning process. I spent 23 years scripting out. They were exercises under what was called the 0300 and the 0400 plan, but these were counterterrorism exercises. However, the planning process. So this is crisis management planning. You've got two types of planning in the military. There's a book called Jopes that actually a guy I used to work for, he wrote Jopes, and he knew the thing like a rabbi knows the Talmud. But when you get into crisis planning, it's short term, but you go through the same steps. Whether it's long term or short term, you go through the same steps. You get an alert or a warning order. You then get from the combatant commander a concept of operations for how they're going to respond to that warning order. Then you get from the headquarters an execution or a deployment order, and then that could be in conjunction with a warning order. The point is that we've got U.S. military liaison personnel at Israeli military headquarters. They're not kept on the outside. They're there. They're there for an important reason, to deconflict and to make sure that Israel doesn't go, that the Israelis want to make sure that when they carry out an operation, that we're not going to interfere in any way that will prevent them from carrying out what they're going to do. So within this, they had advanced warning about when this meeting was going to take place because they knew the location, they knew the time. But this means on the military planning side that Central Command forward there in Al Udeid Air Force Base most likely were involved in the planning and coordinating with the Israelis. They knew how many planes were coming. They knew where the location and destination was, and they knew what they had to clear out to make sure there wasn't any other U.S. or allied traffic in the area. So these Trump advisors trying to protect, they're acting like they're the police chief in the movie Casablanca. Gambling in the casino? I'm shocked. Give me my money. That's what's going on here. This is Claude Rains on steroids.
This is
I love that one. Claude Rains on steroids. Now let's look at the puppet masters here. Watch the guy on the left. Watch them. Watch both of them. Watch their eyes. Watch the intensity. They're going to tell you what reality is.
what Israel's ambassador to the U.S. had to say.
If we didn't get them this time, we'll get them the next time. Israel under Prime Minister Netanyahu is changing the face of the Middle East. We have degraded Hezbollah, we've degraded Hamas, the Houthis, and Iran, the head of the snake that's leading these proxies in an effort to destroy Israel. When we defeat these proxies of Iran, when we defeat Islamic extremism, and actually that will benefit our neighbors in the region who are moderate and want to live in a state of peace with us. So right now we may be subject.
So we're going after the head of the beast. Isn't that interesting? Deflection. The head of the beast is you, Israel. We already know that. Zionism, we've seen it forever and never and never. Iran, they ain't the problem. Remember, you killed Soleimani. You've been fucking with Iran for how long? They're always the enemy. My uncle told me they weren't the enemy back in the 60s. So I've been watching this as an elder now going, holy shit. This country, America, has been lying to the American public. Why? Because they don't want the American public voters to be educated, and they don't want the American voters to start saying, hey, we don't want to spend all this money on our defense because we're the ones out there creating all the wars. We want you to spend our tax money back here in the United States, and Donald, make America great again. And I'm sorry, pull your head out of your ass. You're already compromised. You're bought and sold a long time ago, and you're taking us down the road of destruction. As Barry Maguire said, the eve of destruction. We're close, folks. Netanyahu has nuclear weapons. They've just said he's not going to back down. There's no way he's going to back down. Let's just see if this other guy has something to say, because he looks like a total hardcore Zile. Let's see if he comes back on, the guy with the black hair.
A little bit of criticism, they'll get over it. And Israel is being changed for the better. The region is being changed for the better as we remove these enemies of peace and these enemies of Western civilization.
Israel is essentially, via its ambassador, is saying it'll keep doing this. It doesn't really matter what anyone else says. Colonel Wilkerson, to you.
Does anyone doubt that they'll keep doing this? And oh, by the way, let me just correct one thing that he said. The major thing that they are doing is not any of the things that he so carefully and precisely outlined. The major thing that they're doing is killing, probably at this point, at least 200,000, some think it's as high as 300,000, of civilians, 50% of whom are women and children, and probably 10 to 15% are over 70. That's the main thing they're doing, is slaughtering an entire people. Oh, I think they call that genocide. I think almost every genocide scholar in the world has commented on this now in the affirmative. Yes, it's a genocide. Yes, that's what they're doing. So, Mr. Ambassador, you left out the principal thing that Bibi Netanyahu is doing, and you know you left it out because it is above all not the extermination of Hamas, not the extermination of Hezbollah, not the extermination of anybody in Syria standing in your way. Yes, those are incidental objectives, but the strategic objective is to get rid of those people who, under some scenarios that people have been talking about for 40 years plus, might someday form a state and oppose you in a visceral sort of way. That's your objective, to destroy an entire people. And yes, Mr. Ambassador, had you mentioned that, I would have nodded my head up and down and said, yes, you're making great progress in doing that. But let me finish. You're making it for the United States, who is orchestrating you to do this. And the last orchestration The final orchestration is to destroy the Persian nation, period. That will be your Waterloo.
Thank you, Colonel Wilkerson, for saying that. That's the truth, folks. And let me give you some numbers. On August 26th, BBC had an interview with a woman in Palestine, informing her that they all need to leave. Right. Yeah. They have 2 weeks from August 26th to move out. In that whole region there's 2.1 million Palestinians dispersed along the coastline. And when he said they have to move out, he wasn't just talking out of Gaza. He's talking out of the entire region. How are they going to do that? It's impossible unless they kill them all. And you know that they've been starving them for more than 5 months. It's brutal what you're seeing if you go to YouTube and watch it. And we, the United States of America, these people that call themselves Christians, are standing behind Trump like lemmings. He's our savior and he's going to make America great again. No, he's going to make America hated from every country in the world. But then Bibi Netanyahu's got his way because we'll always have constant wars. You see this psychological crazy fuckery they're doing? So maybe the solution is this. They're going to move forward. And maybe if I keep seeing this vision I've had for months, I've been talking about it, there will be an electronic hypersonic intifada, like a symphony, the electronic symphony, and it will strike and it will take out every strategic military asset and every strategic asset that allows Israel to survive. Remember one thing, Israel's the size of New Jersey. The size of New Jersey. Look at how big America is. And that thing is literally going to explode because the region, they've had enough. And when they went in and bombed Doha to try to kill the negotiators of Hamas, who's not the enemy, they aren't the terrorists, not at all. They're Israel's enemy, but they're not the terrorists. They're an elected officials body that's protecting the Palestinians. The whole world will blow up if Netanyahu uses nuclear weapons. So hang on, folks. It's going to get rough. Thanks for tuning in. Let's just pray there's some divine intervention in this. This is the conscious hour, folks. Your conscious hour to wake up, connect the dots, speak out, shut down your elected officials. They got us into this mess. They've been funded by Israel for how long? Since the 60s, since AIPAC was formed. 93% of Congress is compromised. So we need a new system, folks. At the conscious hour, we already have a new system created. We have a new financial structure systems created for the entire world. Thanks for tuning into the Conscious Hour.